It's another delicious day here in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen, and today I'm making rice pilaf from scratch. Now, rice pilaf, it's been around for a long time. It's traced back to the 10th century Persia. It's come a long way since then. Spain, Afghanistan, all over the place. Of course, rice is more associated with Asian countries, but this has just grown and developed over the centuries. The version I'm making today is kind of popular for today's taste buds. So the first thing I want to do, I'm using shallots instead of onions because the shallots are a little bit sweeter and a little bit finer. So I'm going to just cut them up. The recipe says 2 large shallots. Now here's the thing with shallots, it's hard to get larger ones, I often find. So I've got 1 somewhat larger one and 2 smaller ones. Just do the best you can. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement on these onions. About a half a cup, give or take, is what you're looking for once it's chopped up. Something I've already done is rinse my rice. Did you rinse your rice? Please rinse your rice. I turned on my skillet to a medium heat. I'm going to put my butter in and melt it. Okay. I've already rinsed my rice, and I know I've talked about this before, but if you're new, I'm going to say it for you again. And if you've been here for a long time, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Rinse your rice. Rinse it until the water runs clear. Move it around in there because the dust will settle in the center of it. Please, please, please rinse your rice. Rinsing your rice gives you a much cleaner finished dish than if you don't rinse it. Some people say it rinses off the arsenic that's in rice. That's not entirely true because it's in the rice. It may be 5 to 10% you might get rinsed off, which is something. It's not nothing. But just rinse it, please, till it runs clear. I'm going to put this right into my butter. Try to get all of it out of there. Okay, and I'm also going to add my ½ cup of orzo and just set those aside. I'm going to stir those up to kind of get them coated in the butter. Okay, and I'm just going to cook that for a couple of seconds here, and then I will add this chopped, diced, minced shallots, my finely chopped shallots. Okay, in it goes. And because they're finely chopped, it won't take long to cook them down. Okay, I'm also going to press in my 3 cloves of garlic. And these are pretty good size because I like a lot of garlic. Things like garlic, salt, pepper, adjust those to your taste. Even the onions, if you don't like a lot of onions, reduce how much you use. You could even omit the onions completely and you're still gonna have a beautiful dish. Okay, I'm just stirring this around. I want to see my onions cook down a little bit, and I want to see my rice turn brown some. It's going to get that golden color. One thing you do want to be careful is to not let it sit too long in one spot because then it can burn. All right, I'm starting to get a nice color on this rice. And so it is time to move to the next step. I am going to pour all 3 cups of my chicken broth in there. I will put a link below to my recipe for chicken broth, and I've got my salt again to taste, 2 teaspoons of thyme. Of course you can use fresh if you have some, and about a ½ teaspoon of salt depending on your taste preferences. We're going to turn this up and bring it to a boil while I'm putting on the pepper. Alright, I'm just going to give it a quick stir here to make sure all of those herbs get blended in there. Try and get everything off of my... We're close to our boil. I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on and set my timer for 16 minutes. And I'm going to turn this down to a simmer. And we're going to simmer it for that 16 minutes. Don't take off the lid. Don't stir it up. Just let it be. Pretend it's not even there. Okay, and I just wanted to make a quick note. If you don't want to use chicken broth, you can absolutely use a vegetable broth. totally fine. It'll change the flavor just a little bit. And if you're a vegetarian, well, that works out well for you, doesn't it? Once your 16 minutes are up, go ahead and turn off your skillet, or if it's not a skillet like this, just remove it from the heat, leave the lid on, let it rest for 10 minutes. Now that our 10 minutes are up, we're going to remove our lid. I'm going to sprinkle this on, okay, and then I'm going to stir it in and check my consistency to make sure that my rice and pasta is fully cooked, but it smells so, so, so good. This is also a good time to test your salt content and pepper as well. Nope, it's perfectly done. I think I would add a little bit more salt, and it's probably because I didn't add salt to my chicken broth when I cooked it. I try to keep things like that low on the sodium content because I can always add it later. Can't take it out though. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this in my serving dish, and it is ready to be devoured. I think today we're gonna have this with a delicious roasted chicken I made for lunch. There we go. Kind of made a little mess, but that's not new. There we go. Looks delicious. I'm gonna give it one more little taste since I've added salt. Oh, that's perfect. Delicious. Thanks for joining me here today in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen. From my kitchen to yours, let's make food from food.
That's one boy puppy.